wish it could be Christmas every day. First of all, I know that y'all did not sign up to hear me sing for 25 days, but you just may get a little taste of my horrible tone-deaf singing for 25 days because why not? So excuse the mess. It's going to be messy because with these videos, there's a lot of meticulous planning that goes in. It's a lot of chaos. Oh my God, it's Vlogmas. Here we go again. 25 freaking videos. 25 videos in a row every single day. 25 videos, and I do Vlogmas a little differently. I do my Vlogmas videos based on holiday songs. So I decided to do that last year and we're doing it again this year. And today's holidays selection is I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day by the group Wizard, which actually, not gonna lie to you, never heard of this song, never heard of this group until last year when I made the decision that, I'm gonna research all of these holiday songs, pick 25, and then base all of my booktube videos off of them. Crazy, I know, crazy. As you can see, I have a little tree up there just to kind of give you some holiday spirit. No ornaments on the tree because I have a toddler and the tree is small. Actually, I think that she's probably taller than the tree this year and she will take all of the lovely ornaments off. So just so we don't have those hazards of, you know, ornaments and nice shiny pointy things, we're just gonna, you know, do just the tree in the corner with the lights on it and just call it a day. So last year what I did is I kind of gave a little bit of information about every song that I wrote or that I chose. I didn't write these songs. Oh my gosh, I didn't write these songs. Anyway, I gave a little bit of information about every song that I chose, but I think I'm going to do it a little bit different this year. Instead of giving you some background information, I'm going to tell you why I chose a song and how it aligns with the topic. So clearly the lyrics of this song say, I wish it could be Christmas every day. So I'm thinking, okay, Christmas is replaying itself over and over and over again. This closely relates to rereading because it's a book that we would read over and over and over again. So of course this Vlogmas video is about rereading and some of the books that I think I want to reread in 2022. So I did not get through, I think I shot this video in 2020. Oh jeez. Okay, shot this video in 2020 and coming into 2021 I don't think I reread all of the stuff that I chose last year. I'll have to go back and look and embarrass myself, but the reason why I wanted to do this is because I do really enjoy rereading. I think rereading puts me back into the world. It allows me the opportunity to kind of see things that I've never seen before. It allows me to fall back in love with these characters, with this author's writing, especially like if I've annotated a book. It's really cool to go back and reread a book with my annotations in it and then annotate on top of annotating on top of annotating. It makes the book absolutely beautiful. But I know that everyone doesn't always necessarily believe in rereading, but especially for me as a person who does not do well with rereading series a lot of times, with rereading series, who does not do well with finishing series. Yeah. Who out there finish a series like on time? Because I don't. I never do. But sometimes for me, because I don't finish series, or I think I just kind of have hang-ups about finishing books sometimes because I don't want the world to end, so then I just don't finish the series because we just, you know, that's cool. We love doing stuff like that. So basically I end up having to reread the books a lot, and sometimes I end up rereading stuff multiple times and I still never make it to the last book. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my brain. This is how I function as a human, and I'm glad you're all here for the shit show. So that's why I like rereading too, is that it helps me kind of remember things. It's very hard for me to pick up a book and jump right into like maybe a second book when there's like a year of publication time in between the two. I don't really remember much. Sometimes I do. I think the only example that I have of that was with Ray Bear and Redemptor. I was able to remember enough from Ray Bear that I didn't have to reread it, and I was able to jump right into Redemptor. But for the most part, I usually do struggle quite a bit with remembering all of the vital pieces and parts to the puzzle, and it's it sucks. It sucks greatly, but it's part of my reality that sometimes my memory, I have to reread in order to remember. And sometimes there are some books that are just so good that I just want to reread them over and over again. So I have a stack of books here. I think it's probably close to 10. I believe that there may be one book that I do not physically have. Yes, this is the meticulous planning part where I actually go through and I plan the videos and then I plan all the books. So that's always fun. Yeah, so I have 9 of the books here, and then one of them I do not physically own. That's a whole different story. So let's go ahead and jump into that list. Make sure that if you're here, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Not that you really have to, kind of, sort of, type of show, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a video every day. So there's just no reminders needed. You just come back to my channel tomorrow and watch the next video. I'm joking about that, y'all. Vlogmas is super intense. It's a lot of creators that do Vlogmas, and you can't possibly watch everybody's videos. You will get burnt out on video watching. You still have a life to live. So like I said last year, the expectation is for not every video to be watched by you as a viewer. Pick and choose what you like and just enjoy it. The content is out here for you. Just, thought I would add that in. Okay, so the first book that I have here is going to be Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Now, the reason why I included this is Grown was one of my favorite books of 2020, and I was intending to reread it this year. I was intending to reread it before Y'all Fest when I met Tiffany for the first time, and unfortunately, I never did get to my reread. I originally read this book as an e-arc for review, and then I was sent a physical arc, and then I got a paperback copy. So I don't think anything has changed in between the time that I've read it and its final publication, but I do want to reread it, and I'm putting Tiffany on this list because actually by next year I kind of want to make it through all of her stuff. There's only 2 or 3 things of hers that I haven't read yet, and I want to go ahead and knock it out of the way because I want to be able to do a deep dive into all of her stuff next year. I really want to focus a lot on doing author deep dives, and she's one of the authors that I definitely want to explore. But if you didn't know anything about Grown, it is a book about a young woman by the name of Enchanted who gets linked up with this R&B kind of singer producer, and his name is Corey. And of course, when she gets into this situation with Corey, or this working relationship, it turns into more, and it is about the abuse of power and the abuse of Black women and Black girls and Black femmes, and how the system never listens when things happen to us. So it's a lot of things at play here. I really want to go back and reread it and annotate it. Next one on my list is one that I've had on my list every year since like damn 2018, and that is to finish Nana. And the reason why I have to keep rereading Nana is because I just don't ever get to the conclusion, and this is one of those series that is a super hang up for me in terms of the fact that I just don't want it to end because it's so good. Nana is an old school shoujo title that focuses on 2 women, both of them named Nana. They moved to Tokyo, and it's a slice of life. It's about their relationship with their partners, and their I'm guessing what could potentially be a falling out, reconciliation. I know that the series never got finished, and I think that's another one of my hang-ups, is that the series is never finished, so we never get a definite conclusion. But I have to go through and constantly reread the titles over and over again because of the fact that I never remember what happens. So here we are again into 2022, and I still have not finished my read of Nana, and I'm going to have to reread the titles because of the fact that I always forget just certain elements that I think are important. I think I'm not going to start from the beginning next year. I probably will start at about volume 7 or 8 next year and kind of work my way through up until volume 2. I think it ends on volume 21 or 22, one of the two. So this priority next year. Another manga series that I need to get on the train with is Food War Shokugeki no Soma by Yuto Tsukuda, one of my favorites shonen manga series of all time. I'm a foodie, so this is a food-based manga. Absolutely adore it. And basically with this series, I was slowing down because I wanted to wait until it was completed. I think it's about 36, it's in between 36 or 38 volumes long now. It's completed here in the US and in Japan, and I have made it all the way up to, I think, volume like 22-ish. So technically I have, you know, anywhere from about, I would say, what, like 15-ish plus titles that I need to get through. But there are certain arcs of this story that I don't remember that I want to go back and reread. So I have put this on my list, even though I have made it all the way up to the 20s in this series. I want to go back and make sure that I have a full working knowledge, especially when I got to like the late teens, early 20s part, where there's a certain arc that is about the changing of power at the school. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to reread that stuff and finish the series so I can do a full review. I would love next year to be able to do a full review of Nana, a full review of Food Wars, because why not? Like, why not? I think that I am focusing a lot more on graphic works, especially with the book club that Brie and I are doing, and I really want to make sure that I'm showcasing this material on my channel. The next book that I have here is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Why would I want to reread this book? Because first of all, it is awesome. One of my favorites of 2021, hands down. You're going to see this book again on this channel before this month ends, I promise you. Well, that's a lie. Maybe not this month, but you definitely will see it in my favorites list, because definitely, easily, hands down, one of my favorites of the year. So good, so beautifully done. I don't know if anybody doesn't know what Amari is about at this point. If you have no idea, I highly recommend checking it out. I believe that the pub date for this one got pushed back. I believe it's sometime in April, and you will see the appearance of that come up in a video that I'll be posting probably within the next few days. I think that video is slated to come out in the next few days. I'm super excited to read Amari and the Night Brothers. I think it's going to be fantastic. Again, I am anticipating rereading it and diving back into this world in preparation for the next book that is going to be coming out. Next on my list is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I have very specific reasons for wanting to reread this. I have read this book 3 times, and all of the times that I've read this book have not been documented. Actually, probably have read this book 4 times, now that I think about that. I have listened to it on audio as well. I just put it this way, I've reread this book quite a bit. I have specific intentions for rereading this book because there's something about this ending, okay? There's something about the way that this book is put together that is very telling of what happens in the final pages. And the reason why I know this is because I've heard Jason Reynolds talk about it before, and there was a picture on his Instagram. If I can find it at the time of shooting this video, I will post it. He's posted a lot of Instagram photos since then. There's an Instagram photo of him standing in front of a whiteboard, and he's pointing at the whiteboard because a student was able to correctly figure out what happened at the end, and the way that it was shot, it literally accidentally blurs everything out. And Jason says in the caption, like, it wasn't intentional, but that student was able to put the pieces and parts of it together. I've read this book so much and I still can't figure out exactly what happens, and it's driving me crazy. And I think there's something about time that makes it very intriguing, and I just need to figure it out. So I will be rereading Long Way Down. I feel like I read this book once a year, whether it's documented or not, and so just anticipate it. Hopefully I put the pieces of the puzzle together. I probably should have told you if you've never heard of Long Way Down what it's about. It is about this young boy who is basically grappling with whether he wants to participate in a revenge type of killing. It's gang related. His brother ends up dying, and he is trying to make the decision on whether he wants to get back at the guy that supposedly killed his brother. And the book itself really takes place in the elevator ride from his apartment down to the bottom floor, and there are some things that happen while he's in the elevator. I don't want to give too much away. It is a great look at the cyclical nature of gang violence and gang initiation, and how youth end up involved in gangs, and that some people oversimplify how youth kind of get caught up in that. And Jason Reynolds actually spent some time with some youth that were in a correctional facility, just getting to know them and really talking about their experiences, and you definitely can see that in the context of this book. The next one that I have on here is Slay by Brittany Morris. I read Brittany Morris's other book, The Cost of Knowing, this year, and that book is definitely more heavy than Slay, but Slay is one of those books where I really heavily saw myself represented in the pages of this book, where the main character was dealing with a lot of things that I have specifically dealt with in my lifetime, and I haven't reread it since the first time I read it. I was supposed to reread it this year, but I didn't get the chance to do it, and I want to reread it, and I want to annotate my annotations and see how I feel about it being just a little bit older. I read this like right after I had my daughter, so this was over 2 years ago now, and I think that I probably will have the same opinions about it, but I just do want to reread it. I know that the gaming elements are not true to nature. People always like to point that out, and it's like, this book is not about the gaming elements. It's not supposed to be 100% true to nature about the video game elements. It's about so much more than that, and I think that that's the part that people miss out on and forget. So yeah, the next book that I want to reread that I read for the first time this year is Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. I can't remember if it's Cottom or Cottom, but Thick was one of those books for me too, where I just felt very seen. I felt very supported. I felt very acknowledged in my experiences as a Black woman. And Thick is, like it said, it's divided up into a series of different essays in which the author talks a little bit about the experiences of Black women, Black girls, Black femmes, and it's so good. I think that one of my favorite chapters in this book definitely dealt with Black girlhood interrupted, and In the Name of Beauty. In the Name of Beauty it took me a second to kind of figure out where the author was going with In the Name of Beauty, but I think I appreciated what the author did with that, and Girlhood Interrupted was very, very vital to me as an individual. But this is one that I do want to reread, and this is probably one that I should reread every year, just to remind myself that in my experiences, like, I'm not alone, because sometimes it can feel rather lonely, even though you know that other people are going through the same things. I think that sometimes actually seeing someone like write it down makes it more real, makes it more relatable. So Thick is another one that I'll be picking up next year. And yes, I'm holding this up. I know I just talked about this in my video about my end of year reading plans, but I'm holding Fables up because I am not going to make it through the entire series, my reread of the entire series this year. I probably will be able to make it through the first compendium this year, but I am not going to be able to make it through also the second compendium, as well as the other kind of like side stories that are part of it. So I just wanted to let you all know that I will be continuing my reread of Fables into 2022. If you don't know much about Fables, it is a comic book series that focuses on a group of fairy tale beings that have been removed from their home into New York City. They're undercover and they are attempting to battle the adversary to reclaim their own lands, and finding out who the adversary is hilarious. So I think this is another series that I want to kind of do a deep dive on, and I really have to buckle down and read if I plan on doing that next year. And the last one that I have on my list is one that I do not physically own, and this is Love Boat Taipei. I loved Love Boat Taipei. Everybody's not a huge fan of Love Boat Taipei, but I read Love Boat Taipei twice in 2020. I read it physically once, and then I listened to it on audio. So I read it, like I said, I read it twice in 1 year and absolutely adored it. And the new book, which I did not know if the author was going to actually make it happen, the new book releases January of 2022. So I probably am going to attempt to reread it relatively soon, probably at the beginning of next year. That way I could dive into the second book. But I love book Taipei. It's one that I think I could reread over and over and over and over again, but I will be rereading it in preparation for the release of the second book. All right, y'all, so those are all the books that I want to reread in 2022. Let me know in the comment box below if there are any books that you want to reread in 2022. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll be back with another video soon.